Wow, what news! Amy and Tammy buying a new farmhouse, $3 million farmhouse, 1,000-pound sisters. The air in Dixon, Kentucky, has been buzzing with a rumor so wild, so extravagant, that it's got the whole town talking. And when the whole town is talking, you know it's got to be about the Slaton sisters. The whispers started a few weeks ago, quiet at first, like a breeze through the Kentucky cornfields. But now it's a full-blown tornado of speculation. People are stopping each other in the aisles of the local Piggly Wiggly, phones are blowing up in the beauty salons, and the Facebook groups are on fire. The news that has everyone so shook? Well, buckle up, Buttercup, because it's a doozy. We've all watched Amy and Tammy Slaton on their incredible, heart-wrenching, and often hilarious journey on 1,000-pound sisters. We've seen them struggle, we've seen them triumph, and we've seen them fight over everything from cheeseburgers to who gets the last Diet Coke. We watched them share that cramped duplex in Dixon. We saw Amy break free and buy her own place for a cool $37,000, a modest but massive step for her and her growing family. And we've seen Tammy, after her own battles and a stint in rehab, trying to find her footing. But this is something else entirely. Word on the street is that the Slaton sisters are packing up their lives and making a move that would make even the most seasoned reality TV stars' jaw drop. According to sources close to the family, and by sources, I mean a cousin of a friend who works at the gas station where Chris Combs sometimes buys his chewing tobacco, Amy and Tammy have their eyes on a property so grand, so sprawling, so utterly unbelievable that it's almost too wild to be true. I know, right? When I first heard the number, I nearly choked on my iced tea. $3 million. That's not just a house. That's a compound. That's a small village. For a family that, let's be honest, has had their fair share of financial struggles and living situations that were, shall we say, less than Instagram-worthy. This is a plot twist nobody saw coming. But the more you think about it, the more it kind of makes sense. In a wild, Slaton family logic sort of way. Let's unpack this bombshell. First off, let's take a trip down memory lane. Amy's current house, the one she bought after leaving the duplex, is a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom place that set her back $37,000. She was so proud of that house, and we were proud of her too. It was a sign she was building a life for herself, her then-husband Michael, and her 2 boys, Gage and Glenn. She talked about the big dining room, the fact that Gage finally had his own room, and the backyard where he could play. It was a big step up from the duplex and the hoarding situation that had fans cringing. But let's be real, even when she was sprucing it up, it was a fixer-upper. Built in 1960, it's got charm, sure, but it's not exactly a mansion. And Tammy? Well, her living situation has been a whole saga in itself. She lived in the duplex, then went to rehab, and during that time, the old place got robbed. After that, she bounced around a bit, staying with her brother Chris, and then moving into a house owned by him that needed a ton of work. It was a far cry from the stability Amy had built for herself, and a huge source of tension between the sisters. It's hard to rebuild your life when you don't even have a solid foundation to stand on, you know. And that's exactly where this whole farmhouse rumor gets interesting. For years, the central conflict between Amy and Tammy, beyond the weight loss, has been Amy's desperate need for independence versus Tammy's deep-seated fear of being abandoned and alone. When Amy bought her house, Tammy's reaction was famously frosty. "Okay, whatever," she said when Amy broke the news. Amy confessed in a confessional that she knew Tammy was scared to be left alone, recalling a time when Tammy was by herself and ended up on life support. It was a heavy weight for Amy to carry, but she knew she had to do what was right for her kids. "Gage comes before Tammy. I'm sorry," she said. "That dynamic has caused a lot of heartache and some truly explosive fights. Remember the group chat text war? Chris Combs once said they had 180 text messages fighting over an animal shelter visit, with Tammy telling Amy, 'I'm done with you, BH.' And let's not forget the drama surrounding Amy's wedding to her new husband, Brian, where Amy panicked because Tammy was nowhere to be seen. It's been a roller coaster of emotions, with the sisters frequently at odds. But this new farmhouse development suggests a massive shift in their relationship. It's the ultimate compromise. Amy gets her space and we're talking acres of it, but Tammy is right there with her. It's not Amy's house and Tammy is a guest. It's their house, for better or worse. Now, let's get into the details of this supposed $3 million farmhouse, because if this rumor is true, it sounds like a reality TV dream set. Picture this. Rolling green hills, a long winding driveway leading up to a massive, stately farmhouse with a wraparound porch. I'm talking rocking chairs, a porch swing, the whole works. Enough space for Amy to have her own wing with her boys and a massive craft room for all her projects. And for Tammy, think of first-floor master suite with a huge, accessible bathroom, a walk-in closet the size of a small apartment, and a private patio where she can sit and enjoy the peace and quiet she's always craved. Imagine a gourmet kitchen with two of everything, because we all know the Slaton sisters are passionate about their food, but maybe now they can focus on healthy, gourmet meals instead of the struggle meals of the past. And the land. Think of the possibilities. A huge swimming pool for the kids, a massive garden where Amy can grow her own vegetables, and perhaps a little animal sanctuary where they can safely interact with animals without Amy having a panic attack about being bitten by an alpaca or a camel like she did before the animal shelter visit. There would be no fear of a damaged duplex or a sticky mattress here. This would be a palace, a fresh start. But where in the world did this money come from? That's the million-dollar question, or rather, the $3 million question. A lot of fans might be scratching their heads. Amy's financial status has been a topic of discussion for a while. After her divorce from Michael Halterman, which was finalized in 2023, she became a single mom of two, working hard to support her family. She's got her TLC salary, of course, and her social media presence. But $3 million is a whole different ballgame. It's a whole different sport. Some fans think this is a massive publicity stunt, a plotline for the new season of the show. TLC must be rubbing their hands together with glee at the prospect of this storyline. Others think it might be a smart investment, a way to secure generational wealth for Amy's kids and build a proper family compound. And let's not forget about Tammy. After her tumultuous time in rehab and her newfound independence, this could be a way for her to feel secure and settled, knowing she has a permanent home with her sister. It's a huge step forward for both of them, a sign that they are not just surviving but thriving. Of course, there's another layer to this juicy rumor. The very fact that they would be moving into a property worth this much is a testament to how far they've come. Remember when fans were making jokes about Amy and Michael's not too clean mattress and the hoarder-level mess in their old place? Or when the family's entire living situation was a source of stress and conflict? This farmhouse represents a complete 180. It's a tangible symbol of their success, a monument to their resilience. It's the Slaton sisters saying, "Look at us now." They're not just surviving anymore. They're living large. Imagine the family gatherings. Picture the whole Slaton clan, Chris, Misty, Amanda, and all the kids, pulling up to this massive estate for a barbecue. It would be a world away from the cramped duplex and the tension-filled conversations about who is taking care of whom. This would be a neutral, beautiful space where they could all come together to celebrate and heal. It's the setting for the ultimate family reunion. And think about Amy's wedding. If she and Brian are thinking of having a big celebration, can you imagine a wedding on the grounds of a $3 million farmhouse? It would be the perfect backdrop, a place where she can finally have the fairy tale she's always dreamed of without all the drama, minus the panic of a missing sister, of course. It's a safe, beautiful haven. Of course, as with any good rumor, there's a flip side. Is it a bit excessive? Some people might say that spending $3 million on a house is a terrible idea. The taxes alone would be astronomical. Are they ready for that kind of upkeep? And can their relationship survive the stress of such a massive undertaking? Buying a house is hard enough, but co-owning a multi-million-dollar property with a sibling you've had public screaming matches with? That's a whole new level of trust. This farmhouse isn't just a house. It's a giant metaphor. It's the answer to a decade of questions. It's Amy finally getting the space she needs to flourish, and Tammy finally getting the stability and care she's always needed. It's a symbol that they are in this together, come hell or high water, even if it took them £1,000 and a few $1,000,000 to figure it out. So, is it real? Is it a storyline? Is it a massive publicity stunt? Or is it just two sisters who have been through the ringer, finally ready to live their best lives on their own terms? Right now, it's just a rumor, a glorious, tantalizing, jaw-dropping rumor. But one thing is for sure, in the world of the £1,000 sisters, anything is possible. And if they do buy that farmhouse, you can bet we'll all be watching. All right, y'all. Buckle up because we are diving right back into this whirlwind of rumors, drama, and life-changing decisions. When we left off, the internet was absolutely losing its collective mind over the possibility of Amy and Tammy Slaton dropping a cool $3 million on a farmhouse. But you know what they say, where there's smoke, there's fire. And honey, this fire is blazing. Let me stop you right there before you go thinking Amy and Tammy are about to become Kentucky's newest real estate moguls. Because here's the thing about rumors. They're like a game of telephone at a family reunion. By the time they get to you, the story has twisted and turned so many times that it barely resembles the truth anymore. Sources close to the family, and I mean actually close, not the gas station cousin this time, have started whispering that while yes, the Slaton sisters are indeed looking at properties, the $3 million farmhouse might be, well, let's just say a tad exaggerated. But that doesn't mean there isn't something big happening. What we're hearing now is that Amy and Tammy are genuinely exploring the idea of buying a larger property together. Not $3 million large, but definitely a significant step up from where they've been. Think more along the lines of a spacious, modern home with enough land to give everyone breathing room. A place where Gage and Glenn can run wild without bumping into walls. A place where Tammy can have her own space without feeling isolated. Before we get too deep into the farmhouse fantasy, we need to talk about where Amy is right now in her life. Because, honey, she has been through it. The divorce from Michael Halterman was finalized in September 2023, and let's just say it wasn't exactly the fairy tale ending anyone hoped for. The court documents revealed some pretty intense stuff. Allegations of domestic violence, financial strain, and a relationship that had simply run its course. Amy walked away with primary custody of their two boys, Gage and Glenn. She got the house in Dixon that she had worked so hard to buy. And she got the chance to start over. But starting over as a single mom of two little ones? That ain't for the weak. And Amy Slaton? She's anything but weak. The divorce settlement gave Amy the house and the right to make decisions about the kids' welfare. Michael got visitation rights, and the split was, by all accounts, messy, but final. Amy had to rebuild her life from the ground up, and she did it with a determination that made fans stand up and cheer. In January 2024, Amy gave fans another reason to celebrate when she went public with her new boyfriend, Brian. The relationship seemed to bring a spark back to her life that had been missing for a while. She looked happier, more relaxed, and ready to embrace whatever came next. Brian has been supportive, loving, and exactly what Amy needed after everything she'd been through. And that's where the farmhouse rumor gets really interesting. Because a fresh start with a new man? That calls for a fresh start in every way possible. A new house, a new chapter, a new life. Now, let's talk about Tammy. Because if anyone deserves a fresh start, it's her. We watched her struggle, we watched her fall. And we watched her get back up again time after time. The woman has been through more than most people could handle in 10 lifetimes. Her time in rehab was a turning point. It wasn't just about the weight, it was about everything. The emotional baggage, the trauma, the years of feeling like she was invisible, or worse, like she was just a burden to everyone around her. Rehab forced her to look at herself in a way she never had before. And what she saw, it wasn't pretty, but it was real. Tammy came out of rehab with a fire in her belly that we hadn't seen before. She started making real progress on her weight loss journey. She started speaking up for herself. She started demanding the respect she deserved. The old Tammy, the one who would lash out in anger because she was hurting inside, started to fade away. In her place was someone who was ready to fight for her future. She moved into a house that her brother Chris owned, but it needed a ton of work. The place was a fixer-upper, and Tammy was determined to make it her own. She talked about painting rooms, decorating, and finally having a space that felt like hers. Not a duplex she was sharing with Amy, not a rehab center, not someone else's guest room. Her own space. But even as Tammy was building her independence, there was always this underlying current of loneliness. She wanted to be close to her family. She wanted to be close to Amy. And she wanted to be close to her nephews, Gage and Glenn. The thought of being separated from them? That was the one thing that could still break her. So here we are, at the intersection of Amy's desire for independence and Tammy's need for connection. It's been the central tension of their relationship since day one. And honestly, it's what makes them so compelling to watch. Remember the early days of the show? Amy and Tammy were practically attached at the hip, living in that duplex, fighting over food and space and everything in between. Amy was always the caretaker, the one making sure Tammy was okay, even when it was destroying her own life. And Tammy? She resented it. She resented feeling like a burden. She resented the pity. And she took that resentment out on the one person who loved her most. When Amy bought her own house, it was a declaration of independence. She was saying, I matter too. My kids matter. And I can't keep putting my life on hold. But for Tammy, it felt like abandonment. Like Amy was choosing a new life over her. And that hurt in a way that Tammy couldn't even articulate. The fights got uglier. The texts got meaner. The distance between them grew. And for a while, it seemed like their relationship might not survive. But something changed. Maybe it was Tammy's time in rehab. Maybe it was Amy's divorce. Maybe it was just the natural evolution of two women who had been through hell and were finally ready to come out the other side. Whatever it was, they started finding their way back to each other. They started talking more. Really talking. Not the surface-level conversations about who ate the last snack cake, but deep, emotional conversations about their fears, their dreams, and what they actually wanted from life. And what they both realized was this. They needed each other. Not in the codependent way of the past. Not in the I can't function without you way. But in a healthy, supportive way. They needed someone who understood what they'd been through. Someone who got the jokes without explanation. Someone who would be there when things got hard. And that brings us back to the farmhouse. Because what better symbol of this new chapter than a shared home? A place where Amy can have her independence and Tammy can have her connection. A place where the boys can grow up surrounded by family. A place where the past can finally be left behind. Now, let's be real about the $3 million price tag. Is it possible? Sure. Stranger things have happened on reality TV. But is it likely? Probably not. Here's the thing about TLC stars. They make good money, but they're not Hollywood A-listers. Amy and Tammy have been on the show for years, and they've definitely built up a nice nest egg. But $3 million is a lot of money. Like, a lot. What's more likely is that the sisters are looking at a property in the $500,000 to $800,000 range. That's still a massive upgrade from the $37,000 house Amy bought. That's still a significant investment in their future. And honestly, that's still a dream come true for two women who grew up with very little. Picture it, a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom farmhouse on a few acres of land. Not a mansion, but a beautiful, spacious home where everyone has room to breathe. A big kitchen where Amy can cook up a storm and Tammy can finally learn to make healthy meals that actually taste good. A huge backyard where Gage and Glenn can play. A quiet corner where Tammy can sit and read or just enjoy the peace. Okay, let's talk money. Because you know that's what everyone is thinking. How on earth could Amy and Tammy afford a house that costs that much? Let's break it down. First, there's the TLC paycheck. Reality TV stars don't make as much as you might think, but they make enough to live comfortably. Amy and Tammy have been on the show since 2020, and they've become fan favorites. Their salary has likely gone up with each season. Plus, they get appearance fees for spin-offs and specials. Then there's social media. Both sisters have huge followings on Instagram and TikTok. They're influencers whether they like it or not. Sponsored posts, brand deals, and partnerships can bring in serious cash. A single sponsored post can earn thousands of dollars. And when you have millions of followers, that adds up fast. There's also merchandising. T-shirts, mugs, calendars, you name it. Anything with the Slaton name on it is likely to sell. Fans love supporting their favorite reality stars, and Amy and Tammy have one of the most loyal fan bases out there. And let's not forget about the show's production company. It's not uncommon for TLC to help with housing costs, either by providing a stipend or by featuring the house hunt as a storyline. The network knows that viewers are invested in the sisters' lives, and a new house would be a major plot point. That kind of content is valuable. So could they afford a $3 million house? Probably not. But could they afford a really nice house that's a significant upgrade from where they are? Absolutely. And honestly, that might be even better. Because a $3 million house comes with $3 million problems: high taxes, expensive maintenance,